Hey, this is Dino, and I'm going to walk you through the asynchronous service callout policy configuration. So I've got an API proxy here. It's very simple. It has no target. It's got a couple of conditional flows. One called flow 1 that invokes a service callout with asynchronous configuration. One called flow 2 that invokes a similar service callout with the synchronous response handling configuration. And the matches, those things get matched on the path. So both get requests, the async is /t1, the synchronous is t2. Let's look at the async policy. So that looks like this. To make a service callout behave asynchronously in Apigee X, you just exclude the response element in this service callout configuration. This service callout is calling into something called dummy APIs, which I don't know anything about that, but I just searched on the web for an API that has a delay, and this came up. I'm not sure how reliable this is going to be. It has an expired cert as of today, so I've got to set up my SSL info to handle that, to not enforce TLS validation on this. But it does behave, it does give us that delay. So let's just try that in a shell. We'll see that work. So I've got a terminal here. And we'll just, curl and specify -k, and it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to do that? And so you can see it delayed for 3 seconds, and if I make that a little longer, it'll delay a little longer. All right, so that API is effectively working. It responds with a 200, but only after a delay. Okay, back to the Apigee configuration. If the service callout doesn't have this response element, then Apigee won't wait. So that's the asynchronous, what we might call fire and forget. If you include the response element, then Apigee is going to wait, and it's going to populate this a variable by this name with the response, including the status code, the payload, and the response headers and everything. So everything about this API or this service callout policy is exactly the same as the other one, except for the presence of this one element. I've got one other thing that I inserted into there, and that is a JavaScript policy that measures the time elapsed in the API proxy, and then just sets a response header saying this is how long the target took, and this is how long the API proxy took to execute. So that's going to be in every response. All right, so let's just see this work. First, we will try first option, so that'll be my Apigee is listening there. It'll be service callout. I think I called it async test T1, so that's async. And it gives me back a status OK. And you can see the elapsed time taken in that API proxy is 1 millisecond. This is no target proxy, so the target's always going to be 0. And if I run that multiple times, you'll see that'll just continue. If I want to do the second option, which is synchronous, that is to say the service callout waits for a response, now you can see I'm getting a total elapsed time of over 3 seconds, which is what we would expect. So Apigee is doing exactly the thing that we would expect. And you can also kind of see this in the debugger. So let's let the debug session start up, and then we'll run those requests again. Back to my terminal. So T1, that's the async. Apigee's not waiting. T2 is synchronous. And Apigee is waiting for that. So those are the two async calls, those two transactions, and you see they did not wait. Service callout, sent out to this delay thing, didn't wait. This one is, you can see that service callout is taking a lot longer because it's waiting. And you can see that it populates the response as well. So that ought to do it. That ought to explain how you can take advantage of asynchronous handling of HTTP calls in the service callout policy in Apigee X. Okay, that's it.